Hi everyone, in this video we will go inside a course and take a look at its organization and go over some of the most common types of materials that you will see on a pretty regular basis in Schoology. So I'm just on my course dashboard here. I'm logged in as a test student. In order to go inside of that course, I'm just going to click on here. And then the main part of this video is going to focus on this center section of the course view, which is where all of the materials are located. And you see that this is organized by day of the week, by folder. And this will depend on the age of the students, the subject area, and how each teacher will have their content organized. But each teacher will use folders, whether it is by day of the week or maybe by a skill area or even a chapter or a unit, and be broken down by sections. But they'll be organized using these folders. And then the folders function in Schoology the same way that they function in the real world, and that is to organize or to keep things in one location. So if you click on these arrows by each folder, it opens up and it shows you the materials that are in each folder. And we can do this just for the first couple of days of the week, so you see that. And then as the teacher is leading the lesson, they might be asking the teacher to access this or complete the bell ringer, and it's all right there for them or for you as the student. But let's take a closer look at some of these types of materials, because I'm sure it looks sort of confusing here with all the different icons and things as you go down through. So let's click on Monday to go inside the Monday folder. And we see that the first thing listed here is a Monday overview, and that icon here is a sheet of paper. What this icon shows you is that this is called a page in Schoology, which means there's some sort of information that the teacher wants to share with you, but there's no assignment. There's nothing that needs to be completed or submitted. But again, it is something that the teacher wants to share with you. So of course you want to take a look at that. And this obviously, as far as the Monday overview, gives you an idea or lists the types of things that you'll be working down through, shares the essential questions, objectives, and standards, so you know clearly and exactly what the teacher is expecting you to complete during this period. When you're inside this specific material, then you can either go back to the folder, the previous folder, or here you can go back to the course view. So we'll just go back to the Monday folder, and just know that this is a page, which means the teacher is providing you with some sort of information. Now, we move down to the bell ringer. We do see a sheet of paper, but a little bit of a different picture with the pencil, and this tells us this is an assignment, same as our exit ticket. We know these two things are assignments, which means I have to open it up, I have to complete something and submit it to my teacher. So if you open that up, we see the directions here to copy the bell ringer to Notability and submit when you are finished. We have a PDF here, and I have a whole folder devoted to using Notability, and specifically how to open up and complete and submit with Notability. So we won't take that time here. But again, that icon or this type of material that is an assignment requires you to submit to your teacher. Next activity is a PowerPoint that the teacher would obviously use to share the content, interact with the students with that content during that teacher-led time. And then the next type of material here, we see the chain link, which means it's exactly what that means, a link. And this could be to a website or a different program of some sort, like Khan Academy or Study Island. This is a link to for some Boom learning cards, and what's nice is this is just embedded right in Schoology. So teachers can assign this, and students can work on this either at their own pace or maybe at the direction of the teacher as some practice. So students would continue to go through and answer those questions. And then finally, in the Monday folder, again, we see that the exit ticket is set up as an assignment, which means that teacher is expecting the students to submit something. Now, this assignment is set up a little bit different than the first, in that there's no document here. There's no PDF. There's no Word document for the student to open up. The teacher just asks a question and requires the student to explain their answer. So there's a couple of different ways, and of course, As I said before, as far as organization, the same thing applies here. This is going to depend on age of student, subject area, type of assignment, type of question. But as far as how the student would submit, but you have a couple of options. So if we click on submit assignment here, the first thing you can do is you can record your audio and video. So you could share your or save that audio. Very self-explanatory here as far as starting your recording and then submitting. That's one option. You can also access your files from here. So let's say it's a larger assignment where maybe it's an essay that you've been working on throughout number of class periods, and finally then at the end of the week the teacher wants you to submit. You've saved that as a Word document. You can access that in your files right here. Or for a shorter assignment like this, like an exit ticket, you can also just create and type right here. So you probably wouldn't want to do this with a full essay where you have your brainstorm sheet and a rough draft and things like that. But for a shorter response, you can just type right here and then submit the assignment in that way. And again, the teacher will certainly be going over with you if and when you have this type of assignment. So that's everything in the Monday folder. So I don't want to click back on the Monday folder, but I can toggle right here back to the whole course view. So we've talked through pages and assignments, PowerPoints, and even links. So here on Tuesday, I'll just click on that to zoom in a little bit more. We see the familiar page here with a Tuesday overview of what type of tasks are going to be completed. But then we have some different pictures. See the bell ringer and the exit ticket today, or for this day, we have 2 dialogue bubbles, and that means those are discussions or discussion boards. And discussion boards can be used in a number of ways. They can be ongoing conversations between students and teachers, and collaboration between classmates, where they can be short and pretty quick ways for teachers to gather information. That's exactly how this bell ringer would be set up. So the bell ringer takes place at the beginning of class, helps activate prior knowledge for the students, gives some quick information and feedback to the teacher to help guide their instructional plans. And here we see the specific question of how many polygons can you think of, and list them in your discussion post. So the student would simply click here and they would start typing. And you see, I'll just start typing 1 right now. And as soon as you do that, the post option appears, and you could post that when you have all of your polygons listed there. The teacher would see that. You would then be able to see other student responses, and then the teacher would obviously go from there as far as their instruction. Yep, it's asking me if I want to leave because I didn't submit that. Again, the exit ticket is set up the same way as far as a discussion board. And then we have another new icon here. It's like carpenter squares. This is an icon for an external tool, which basically means it's another program, it's another activity similar to the link, but this is always going to embed in Schoology. And this is a Nearpod student-paced lesson on area of polygons. And I believe a lot of teachers will be using Nearpod, like join your sessions, with their classes whenever it's most appropriate. And this is student-paced, so students would just work through work through this lesson on their own, complete all of the aspects of that before finishing up and submitting that at the end. So again, that external tool is those 2 carpenter squares sort of interlocked there. So again, pages, again, in as far as the Tuesday overview, a couple of discussion boards that can be used in a number of ways, and then our external tool. So as we move to Wednesday, the last type of assignment, or the type of material, I guess I should say, that I want to go over is an assessment, is a test. And I'm sure that's the number one thing that students want to talk about. But the Wednesday overview is here in a page, which would be pretty short as far as taking the test. And the jigsaw puzzle piece here is the icon that goes along with an assessment. So anytime you see this, it's a test, it's an assessment. Those can be shorter, those can be longer. All different types of questions can be utilized, whether the traditional multiple choice or matching, fill in the blank. There can be open-ended, all different types of questions. can be asked in Schoology, which is neat because not only does the student complete that assessment here, they're able to see that feedback whenever they finish the test, which is nice. So let's click on this just to see what it would look like. Lets you know that how many points it's worth and how many attempts you have, and you can start the assessment. And this is just a couple of questions just to allow you to see what an assessment looks like. Multiple choice asks you the question. You can then click or select the answer you believe is correct. Notice here on the right-hand side, you have a couple of options though, and one is to eliminate choices. So if I go down through, I know that this isn't correct, and this isn't correct, but I'm sort of down between these two. I know that eliminating options is a strategy that's taught very very much across the board. So that's available to you in this assessment, and your teacher can control different types of tools that are available to you. Everything from highlighting or underlining certain things. In math, there could be notepads or protractors, things like that. All different types of tools, and you can find that on the right-hand side here. I can just click right on question number 2, or I can hit next. Same thing here, another multiple choice question, pretty straightforward. You would provide your answer. You would select your answer that you think is correct, and then you do get to review before you go on. So, and once again, it asks me if I'm ready to submit, which I will. And then, it does allow you to see the action here. So you get to go back through and see what you scored, see what the correct answers were. So that feedback is very nice and can be very very powerful as far as a learning tool. That immediate feedback to students. So I've completed that assessment. I again can toggle back and forth to a couple of these different options up top. Let's go back to the course view. Again, depending on your subject, depending on the age of students, organization will look a little bit different. You just need to know that teachers will have folders, and in those folders, they will have their materials structured for you. And this is not going to be something that students are on their own trying to figure out. Teachers will be leading them through this and helping them through this, and there'll be different teacher-led parts, there'll be different independent practice parts, just like the typical classroom. It's just that this gives us one hub or one area to have all of those materials in one very organized space.